Let's take a look at this 6'5" guard out of North Little Rock High School going to Arkansas, 18-year-old Nick Smith. I do want to say I only had 2 games from this past high school season, and I won't be able to provide any stats in this breakdown. I want to look at Nick Smith as a 3-level scorer. So we're going to start with the shooting. Obviously has the ability to knock down shots in a variety of ways. So there you see him go to the step back, able to knock it down. Here, operating in ball screen, something he's going to do a lot. Gets a switch, that defender backs up, able to walk right into it and knock it down. And then he's also able to knock down the mid-range jumper. So again, operating in a ball screen, he's going to refuse this one, going to his right. So you see his ability to rise up and knock that down, but he was also able to go to his left and his right for his pull-up jumper. I will say he didn't do quite as much in the mid-range in terms of pull-up jumpers in the 2 games as what I saw from other areas of the floor. And then I also didn't see him operating off the ball a ton. We'll show a lot of clips throughout this breakdown of him operating with the ball in his hands, but there was this clip in transition of his ability to knock down a catch and shoot. One thing that I really loved about his game, as well as he shot, he didn't settle for that. He was constantly putting the ball on the deck and trying to attack, and we'll see that here as we look at his floater game. So we talked about the 3-point shot. I showed the mid-range pull-up. I'm really intrigued by his floater game. So here he goes behind the back, and then the ability to stop on a dime right here and control his body. He's going to miss this one, and I wanted to put this one in there because I do think there's a little bit more for him to develop with the floater, but that body control was really impressive. Here in the half court, operating in a ball screen, you can see the little hesitation right there to stop the defender, and then the floater in traffic, able to put nice soft touch on that one, and then in transition. So that's where he operates really well in transition, but also is able to do it in the half court, especially in ball screen situations. But behind the back, again, you see the suddenness with the little hesitation, puts him on his heels, and then able to finish that floater through some contact. And then to round out the 3-level scoring, he's also able to get all the way to the rim. So again, here in transition, you see him go to the left, misses this one. So it's not like it's perfect. He definitely has room to grow, and he's not a high riser. He can finish above the rim when he gets out in the open, but that's not really what he's going to do in traffic. So again, here in transition, able to attack, and then you see play with a little bit of pace, and then the long strides, and there you do see him finish with his left with a little bit of English around the defender. And then playing in the half court, going to use this flat ball screen, and you see just a little bit of an explosion, able to attack to the rim, finish with his right hand there. I mentioned earlier, he looks really good going to his left and his right, which is pretty high level for an 18-year-old just going into college. So you saw a little in and out dribble there. And then here you can see long strides, kind of a little Euro type step going back to his right hand. So he may not be finishing a bunch as a highlight reel above the rim type finishes. Again, I don't want to underestimate his athletic ability, but he does it a little bit more with nuance and finesse, which I actually love. And then as we continue to watch, you're going to see, I love the change of pace and the suddenness he plays with. You can just see it there in isolation on these dribble moves. Now, I do think he's a really good passer. You see him pointing to his teammate to stay in the corner. He did have a few turnovers, a few lob passes that maybe shouldn't have been thrown. But in general, I loved his ability to attack the defense. You see him get almost all 5 defenders in the lane and then kick out to his teammates. It's going to be very interesting to see how much he plays on ball next year at Arkansas. A lot of what I watch, he played with the ball in his hands, not as much off ball, but I think it's something he can do. You can run him off pin downs, you can run him off DHOs, and then obviously you want to still get the ball in his hands in transition and use his ability to not only score, but create like we're seeing in these clips here. And I really like his ability to throw lob passes. I think that can be an underrated and undervalued skill level, especially for a guard that has the ball in his hands and is creating as much as Nick Smith will. Now, I want to look at the defensive end of the floor, and the first thing I want to make note of is he took on the assignment of the other team's best player a lot. So just a simple clip here, but you see him chasing this offensive player off the screen. He chased him all game long. He full denied him off ball all game long, which made it hard to really judge his off-ball defense, but I love that about him. In this game, he did the same thing, guarded the other team's best player, and I wanted to put this clip in there because in the first half, he went under a couple ball screens and the offensive player knocked down a couple threes. You can see here, he learned from his mistake, fought over the top of that ball screen and didn't allow him to get a shot off. Now, I will say, I would love to see him get a little bit more involved on the defensive board. You see not get involved on there and is just kind of backing off towards half court. court. I thought this clip kind of showed the full package. So you see him again off ball against the best player. He always gets down in his stance on ball. I love his engagement and his focus on the ball. He's going to get back screen, so they're going to switch one here. Now he's got to get through a staggered. So you can see him working through some screens there. I thought he did a decent job, even though his teammate comes up and is aggressive. And then we're going to see him get a deflection. I think he has a long wingspan where he can be disruptive. And then again, sitting down in the stance on balls, trying to stay in front. If there's one area where he's going to have to really improve, I think he's going to have to give a little bit more room. He does lack just a little bit of that explosiveness, that quickness. And so you can see at times where guys are able to create separation and go by. He continued to play there, cut him off. But as he progresses throughout his career, plays against faster, quicker, more explosive offensive players, I think he's going to have to give a little bit of room. You can see him give up the drive there on that one. So not a huge area of concern, but I do think it's something to keep an eye on. So overall, offensively, I think he's an absolute bucket. I think he's a kid that is going to be able to score at all three levels, and I really like his ability to pass and create for others as well. Very interested to see if Arkansas uses him more on ball, off ball, if it's a little bit of a mixture. And then defensively, love his focus, love his engagement, his competitiveness to take on the assignment of the other team's best player. Has to work a little bit on how much room he gives, and I do think he could get a little bit more involved on the defensive boards.